Hi guys, this is Miss Matthews. We are doing lesson 27, session 2 today. Alright, so I can use line plots to show data. This is what we're doing. Okay, I want us to look at this and let's try to figure this out. What is the greatest value in the list of data below? So we have 3/4, a half, 5/8, 3/4, 4/8, and a half. What do you think is the greatest value? So the greatest value, the biggest number that we have is 3/4, right? How many x's would a line plot show for that value? Think about it. How many x's would a line plot show? So a line plot is going to go from 0 to 1, right? And if we have 0, we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. And what is the equivalent of 3/4? If it was 8, it would be 6/8, right? So that would be here, but we would have two of them because we have 2 3/4. See? So that's 6/8 or 3/4. So to understand this lesson, we also need to understand equivalent fractions, okay? So Kira bought 12 different types of stickers to decorate her scrapbook. She measured the width in inches of each type of sticker and wrote down the results, making a line plot to organize and display Kira's data. Okay, so this is her data right here. If we had to do a line plot to do that, okay, think about it. What is this problem about displaying data on a line plot? What are we trying to find out, right? We just want to display it and to see what it looks like. What information is important? All of this information is going to be important, all right? And so I want you guys to try that. All right, while you try it, I am going to do it at the same time, all right? So that's how I know where the x's are, because how many do I have here? How many quarters do I have? I have 1/4, 2/4, so I have 2 x's over the quarter. And then for 3/8, how many 3/8 do I have? 1, so I have 1x. And under a half, how many halves do I have? 1, 2, 3, I have 3 halves, right? So I have 3 up here. And then 5/8, I have 1. 6/8 or 3/4, how many data pieces do I have that are 3/4? I have 2. I have nothing that's 7/8. And for 1, which is 8/8, I have 2. So I should do 1, 2. Okay, do you see how I represented that? All right, so we are going to, if you guys have any other ways of doing it, we can talk about it. You can send me a message on that, okay? So let's look at the Moodlet. All right. List what you know and plan how to make the line plot. So this is what we're doing. The fractions are in 8ths, 4ths, and halves. That's what we found, right? They were like in 8ths, 4ths, and halves. Those were the denominators. The narrowest sticker was 1/8 of an inch. The widest sticker was 1 inch. The line plot will start at 0 and go to 1 because that is a data set. It goes from the smallest to the biggest. The line plot will show an X for each of the 12 stickers. The line plot will have a title and a scale label. All right? Okay, let's look at this. Use your plan to start labeling and marking the line plot to display the data. So we draw the number line from 0 to 1, right? Choose an appropriate scale for the data. So what is the scale that we're going to use? We're going to use 8ths, 1/8, because it was the smallest measure, right? Graph each data value. The line plot below shows the first row from Kira's list with the whole stickers, okay? Right. Let's make some connections, shall we? All right, so let's look at the model. Why is it a good plan to go from 0 to 1 inch for, why is it? Let's write. Okay. All the stickers are from 0 to 1 inch in width. So that's the data plot. The data plot goes from the smallest to the biggest. So we know that's why we're gonna use that. What scale is used for the line plot in the second model? So we used 1/8 because it's the smallest one, right? Because there are 8 equal sections. There are 8 equal sections from 0 to 1. And number 3, why does this scale make sense for this data? So this scale makes sense because all these stickers can be shown in 8ths or equivalent fractions. Because all these stickers can be shown in 8ths. Even though they were 3/4, we know that 3/4 is 6/8, so they can all be represented in 8ths. Number 4, the tick marks in the second modelet are not labeled with fractions. Do they have to be? And how can you locate those data points with X's when the tick marks are not labeled with numbers? So you do not need to label all the tick marks. You can count 8ths to locate the data points, right? You can count 8ths, you could go 1/8, 2/8 straight, but you don't always necessarily have to. So for example, if you have a quarter is equivalent to 2/8, so you plot an X on the second data tick mark, 0, okay? And number 5. Number 5 is just see the second modelet. Okay. And number 6, how do you use a line plot to organize measurement data? So a line plot shows the data in order from the least to the greatest, right? It shows it from least to greatest. And the X's show how the data are distributed among those different measures, okay? Oh, and number 4, I didn't write that down, but I did say it. So you don't need to label all the tick marks for number 4. You can count the 8ths to locate the data points, all right? So just count by 8ths to locate data points. All right, and 7, you can just reflect and see what you like best. I'm not sure, whatever you choose.